Only a thin glass wall separated them, but the cold space between represented a great distance. She was 100 miles away as she pressed her lips on the rim of her cup. He could see himself on her fair face. His wide-eyed reflection bounced on the glass surface, distorted and made ethereal by her ghostly complexion on the other side of the glass wall. He had been watching her ever since he first came to this cafe. The first time he saw her, she was sitting where she sat now. She always picked a table outside a coffee shop by the door, where she could watch the pedestrians hurrying home after work. Sometimes she would stretch her thin neck to catch the last rays of the sun. Light would fall softly on her cheek as she read the hardbound book. Thick dark lashes contrasted starkly against the white face. On the rare instances when she would look up, she would stare into space, and he wondered, who is she thinking of? What is her name? Today he found a vacant table inside a coffee shop set right across where she sat outside. Only a glass wall separated them. Looking through the glass, he sat and bathed in her presence as he did day after day. He almost felt like he knew her. He knew the gentle slope of her back, or how a strand of hair would escape from behind an ear and fall on the soft line of her jaw. He had traced the ridges on her collarbone over a dozen times, his eyes carefully traveling the length of the clavicle until it rested on the hollow below the throat. He memorized the lines that creased her forehead when a dark thought crossed her mind. He understood the shapes which her dreams took on the edge of his sleep. He knew her breath, and the invisible clouds they formed over her steaming cup. He felt how her palm fit the curve of the warm mug. Many times he tried to read the soundless words that were on the tip of her tongue, but they melted with the heat of the coffee before they could escape her lips. Her lips, he knew them well. He knew how it felt to touch them with his. Briefly he closed his eyes and felt the soft, moist flesh gently pressing against his lips, forcing them to open slightly in surrender. The first kiss will be this kiss by which all others in your life will be judged and found wanting. He remembered the line from that Stephen King book he read the other day as he imagined what it would be like when their lips would meet for the first time. Did she even read King? He wondered as he opened his eyes and watched her turn a page from her book. He couldn't make out the title. He wanted to tell her about the obscure bookstore he discovered the other day, certain she would delight in the dimly lit store stacked with old hardbound books, abandoned by their owners, books that had been read under the soft sunlight, books with coffee rings on the cover jacket. He would tell her about it and offer to buy her coffee. Should he go up to her now? Tap on the glass and smile. Surely he was a familiar face. She would remember him as the guy who always ordered a hot mocha java while he sat deep in a couch, his nose buried between the pages of a paperback. His musings were interrupted as she suddenly looked up and stared right at him. It was a brief moment that spoke of the many intimate nights he spent with her in his dreams. The look that pierced the glass represented the thousands of seconds they had shared, holding hands in his head. Their eyes locked as he drowned in dark pools. In that brief moment he saw nothing, except for his reflection in the mirror of her eyes. He did not see himself. He was just another stranger, one of the pedestrians who decided to make a quick stop for a caffeine jolt. Soon as the lock was broken, he took one last sip of his coffee. It had gotten cold. The taste was flat in his mouth. He swallowed and then walked out of the door.